Hi everybody, my name is Justin. Welcome to the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom YouTube channel. This is the channel where we take the practice of yoga on the mat and off the mat to create happier days, a happier life, one small step at a time. And I have such an amazing way that you can do that in today's video with this acupressure mat. We're going to talk all about that coming up. So welcome everybody. If you've been following this channel for a while, or you've been listening to my podcast, which is the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom podcast, you can find that on any podcast platform out there. You know that my mission is to help every one of you come into happier lives, live happier lives. But you have to be the one to choose that. I can't choose that for you. Your partner, your neighbor, your friends, they can't choose it for you. Only you can. And one of the ways that I have found lately that I have been coming into way more happiness and way better feeling in the body, which is very important to connect it to, is through this acupressure mat. So I want to talk to you about this acupressure mat today, how I found it, how I use it, what it has done for me, because I have to tell you something. It is one of the greatest little inventions I have found in a while. And I'm going to link in the description of this episode to the acupressure mat that I like a lot that comes from Amazon. I don't have that one in this video. I have a different one here because the other one's upstairs. This one's down here. But this one has a cord. So you might be able to see that you can plug the one in here that I have. So there are those available, and you can plug it in and it will heat up as well, like a heating pad does. So it very much resembles a heating pad. It's a small object. It's not very big in size. A lot of mats you can buy that have just this. They're just the mat on their own, and then with no cord or with cord. And then some have this pillow, which is amazing. We're going to talk about this pillow in a minute. I have my yoga mat here. You don't have to have your yoga mat down. You can have anything down on the floor, or you can put this in a softer position. I also will not be taking shirt off or any other clothes because for the sake of me going on and off the mat, I'm not going to have the spikes touching my bare skin on and off because that's going to be too uncomfortable to do the video for that. So I'll be demonstrating it with clothes on, but you can also remove any articles of clothing that you need to get in a little bit more into the point. So if you've never heard of acupressure, acupressure is much like acupuncture, except this is non-invasive. So we're not taking needles into the skin. All we're doing here is taking these pressure points and applying them to the skin. And when you do this, your muscles start to relax like you cannot even believe. So if you've never tried this before, I can't tell you how wonderful it is. My IT band gets very, very tight. My hips get tight. I've had low back strains, and this has been a game changer. So let's talk about how we can use the acupressure mat. And again, remember, you don't have to have the cord or the heated element. It's nice, but you don't have to have it. I just have this one here because that's what I have down here with me. So let's begin with just a couple of ways that you can do this. I have a blanket nearby because sometimes if you're doing this at night, you might be a little chilly. And I do recommend doing this at night or after doing a workout. So if you do some kind of intensive workout, it's a great thing to do after. You are going to feel very relaxed. I also am going to tell you that the initial part of this, when you first lay down onto it or you turn onto it or you make any motions, is going to be uncomfortable. But we know that when things are uncomfortable, sometimes the results are even better than that nastiness we're going to feel for a little bit. So the first way that I like to use this mat is I like to work my hips and my IT band. So your IT band runs from your hips down through the side of your leg and almost into the knee. So it kind of starts here and comes down. I like to turn, and what I do is I just sit sideways on the mat. So I'm going to take my right hip down onto the mat. And what I do is I literally just place, I'm going to turn this way actually. I literally take my knee at the top of the mat and I sit right down onto the mat on my right hip, and my right thigh has now hit the mat. I can turn and face this way to show you what it would look like on the opposite direction, on your left side. So your knee comes towards the top, your hip comes towards the back, and you can come down onto your left or right forearm And it almost looks like you're, kind of in this, in yoga, we would call this a mermaid pose. Kind of look like you're just kind of chilling, or maybe you're at the beach here, you're just chilling out. This is what this would look like. But I like to keep my legs bent. Another thing I do when I do this is I take a pillow and I rest my head down, or a blanket, on the pillow. So now your whole left leg and left hip, or right, is on that mat. So that's one way that you can work the hips, the IT band. I usually do that for about 10 minutes. You can do that for as long as it's comfortable. But again, remember, when you come down on this, especially if you take the shorts off or you have underwear on and that comes off and you're doing this with nothing on, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. So that's the first way. Another way that you can work this is on your belly. Now, this one is tough for me specifically, and I don't usually have a lot of straining, but if you have anything in the low belly or the front hip points you want to work, you can lay straight down onto the mat on your belly and just lay flat. It's a very funny sensation on your belly, but it really does help with a little bit of digestion. So you can lay down flat on your belly, just like this. Now, if you want to work let's talk about the back, because we've done the hips, the IT band. Let's talk about the back. Now, the back is probably one of the most targeted areas most human beings feel. We have low back pain, we have upper back pain. I have cervical ribs up here that interrupt my cervical spine. So those cause me aggravation sometimes. So I like my entire back, and my low back can too. I like my whole back down on the mat. Place your glutes and your low back just maybe not even an inch from the end of the mat, and lay down on the mat. Now, here's where this little pillow can come in handy. You can take this pillow and do a couple things. You can put it under your neck and release tension from your neck. So lay your neck on the pillow and then extend your legs long. Now you're laying on the whole mat and your neck is there. You can also take this pillow up a little more and place it on the shoulder blades, where your shoulder blades are and where the bottom of your shoulders are, and let your neck sink back. This is what helps my cervical spine. So if you have any cervical spine pressure that goes into your arms or your shoulders, or even down the sides of your body, this is really helpful for that. If you sit and let your Adam's apple, your chin too, go up towards the sky, and your crown of your head towards the back of where you're at, your space. So this is so helpful. Now, another thing you can do is take this pillow and you can work the lower extremities. You can place it, here's for your hamstrings, folks that have tight hamstrings like me. Place your pillow underneath your hamstrings, maybe closer to your knee, maybe closer towards your booty or your glutes, and lay down and let your legs sink. It's not comfortable at first, but it will relieve some pressure. The other thing you can do if you have tight calves while you're here is just place the pillow on your calves. That will be painful. Woo! Right at first, I feel it. And you have this down. Just let your feet hang and really let your legs relax into the mat. You can also work your feet here by placing the soles of your feet on the pillow while you're laying on your back. This is very helpful because there's so many pressure points in all of your feet and your toes that you'll start to release some of the tension in your body, even if you're not even laying on the mat and you just have your feet on it. You can stand on it too, or the mat with your feet. That's really tough. If you've done that, leave a comment. If you've put the mat, if you stood on it with your bare feet, leave a comment. I'd love to know if you've done that. Okay, so we've got the feet, we've got the calves, we've got the thighs and the hamstrings. Lots you can do there. So when you come off of the mat, come up quickly and don't go back down, especially if you have no clothes on in that area, because the skin is going to try to reconnect with these acupressure points and your skin is coming off. So it's almost like you're peeling off a layer of skin. You're not really doing that, but it feels like you're doing that. And so you want your skin to be able to readjust itself. So don't roll around on the mat. Come off of the mat, sit up. Use that core and sit up. Now, there's other ways that you can use the mat, that whatever works best for you. The other couple things that I've done is if you have any kind of shoulder straining, you can lay down, just come like where you were laying with the IT band and put your shoulder down on the mat. You can even take a blanket and put it here so you don't have to put your ear on the acupressure points. Just put your shoulder on that mat. It'll help lessen some pain in the shoulders, so you can do that. If you have any arm straining, I like to lay down flat on my belly and stick one arm out, and I just place the arm right down on the mat in whatever position I need to. And you can roll onto your left hip, or you can roll onto your right, whatever feels good to place on that mat. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. You can adjust your body any way you feel is beneficial for you. But the final few things I want to talk about are the biggest benefits that I have seen personally from the acupressure mat. And the first benefit that I have had from doing this acupressure mat, I have been doing this now for 2 weeks. So this started 2 weeks ago from the filming of this video. And this video is actually not going to come out for 2 weeks after I film it. So by the time you see this, it's going to have been 1 month or 4 total weeks. I have had a low back pain since I traveled last and came back into town. And after visiting my chiropractor and working with him, I have also tried to have some home relief because I stand up a lot. I am doing yoga all the time. I'm teaching yoga. I'm here with you teaching on this channel and on, and I need my low back to be in top shape. And what I noticed after I started is after the first day, I noticed my pain started to shift around, and it took about 1 week. And after 1 week, I was completely mobile again. I could turn and twist and move and do all kinds of things that I couldn't do with the low back pain. I also noticed that doing the hamstring allows me to fold over and get way more of a close forward fold. Chest comes closer to the thighs more than it probably ever has. And that's just after, as I mentioned, 2 weeks of this. And again, by the time you see this, it will be 4 weeks since I have started this. But the results have been tremendous for me. The other thing, the second benefit I've noticed, other than pain relief, is better sleep. So I've been sleeping a lot better. I noticed that when I come off of the mat, I try to get myself into bed. That's when I do it. So I work about 40 minutes on the mat. I'll work my hips, I'll work my IT band, I'll work my low back and my hamstrings. And then I get into bed and it calms me completely down. And because my muscles and my body is so at ease, I'm able to slide into sleep just beautifully. So those are the 2 big benefits. And I think there's a third benefit. And maybe it's not as big for all of you, but it is for me, and that is stress levels. So it is shown, and it has been studied out there. There's some studies about this, that acupressure points start to move around the chemicals in your body and release certain chemicals and move chemicals to points that will help you, all of that stuff. You can research all of that. But I have noticed that because of that, I feel like I release a lot of endorphins from the day. Stress, crazy encounters that you have throughout your day that cause you to get nervous or worked up. I notice that this, coupled with my normal physical activity and my other practices that I do during my day, this has been an extraordinary addition to my wellness practice. So if you're really serious, which you should be, because this is your life we're talking about here, this is not a game, this is not a joke, this is your life we're talking about. If you're serious about turning your life around and becoming a happier person, maybe consider adding something like this in. There's also research out there that shows the same thing. Look for it yourself before trying anything. Talk to your doctor, of course, before trying anything. But let me tell you something, this has been a game changer. So until the next video, until our next time we get to spend together here on the Strength, Yoga, and Freedom channel, YouTube channel, thank you for watching. Namaste to all of you, and I will see you next time.